show science and technology that kills people, it doesn't work, and you have a menu of...
Well, then, Peter Thiel, you should change the way that tech appears to everyone, and then maybe the movies wouldn't portray it as so dystopian. As far as what I can see, and most people, is that, no, the technology is very dystopian. Most of us don't want anything to do with it. Well, we're just told we don't have a choice. We have to accept it, which that's dystopian enough, Peter. But then, you have all that influence. I mean, do you want to know how much influence Peter Thiel has in Silicon Valley? Like, he has total influence. He does. Behind the scenes, he has total influence. So this karma check that lost 3 of my drug screens, and are preventing, they didn't hire me, but they were just doing the background check, and they're just trying to destroy me. That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to delay me starting the job. Not just delay me. They're inevitably just, messing with me. Nobody loses 3 drug screens. But when he wants to sit here and act like that he doesn't like the way that tech is portrayed in movies, it's like, well, then show different fruits. What you guys show in Silicon Valley is that you control America's speech. Okay, Karma Check, go tell Karma Check to get their shit together, Peter Thiel, but you're okay with that stuff. And what makes it worse with you guys is that you have millions, and some of you billions of dollars, and you mess with people that live paycheck to paycheck. So if you want people to see tech as something better than what the movies portray, well, then you should show people the positive fruits of tech. You're really not. You're not. Most Americans are not looking forward to the big AI and what's going to come. Most of us are sick of it. And we know it's you guys in Silicon Valley that are controlling speech. I just wonder what's going to happen when somebody's monitoring what you guys are doing, I think somebody is. The pendulum always swings back, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, he's a hard nut to crack. He really is. And I say that because I can see why people get pulled in by him. When you when you listen to Sam Altman, you can easily be like, look at this, he's an idiot, he's ChatGPT, but the magic that Peter Thiel has, and he knows he has it, is he has this humbleness, this way that he acts humble. I don't think he's humble, but and it pulls people in. I mean, J.D. Vance got pulled in by he took J.D. Vance under his wing. He's done that with others too. He's very good at what he does. He wields behind the scenes, he wields most of the power in Silicon Valley. So anything going on in Silicon Valley, like what Karma Check is doing, he could do something about. But he's not what he appears. But he's hard to nail down, because anytime you listen to any interview with him, he's so good at being humble and likable that you can't help but want to believe him. Yet I'm always like, yeah, he's full of shit. But, unlike everybody else in tech, I guess that's the gift that Peter Thiel has, is that most of your tech people, whether it's Elon or it's Sam Altman, take your pick, all of them, they're very cocky, they're very arrogant, they're very full of themselves, kind of thing. Peter Thiel, however, is very good at being humble. He was part of the PayPal mafia with Elon, but he's very good at playing the humble role. So you could see how people he can pull people in. I've dealt with narcissists in my life. They're not fun, but they do there's a spectrum to them. Some are closer to the sociopath end, and usually with them, you can see they just don't care what they do, and they're more like with the lower end narcissists. lower on the spectrum, that doesn't mean that they're any less bad. It just means that the lower spectrum narcissists, you'll see, have more like freak, not breakdowns, but rage attacks. But and then with the high spectrum ones, they're less likely to feed. They're less likely needing to feed off of your energy, because narcissists are typically, they suck people dry, and I mean they're emotional vampires, literally. But the higher spectrum ones aren't so much emotional vampires, because they're more in they kind of have a foot in the sociopath area and the narcissist area. So you see, they don't really need to feed off of your energy. They just like to mess with people. But with the lower spectrum narcissists, they'll have these just rage attacks, and they'll feed off of positive energy. Well, usually that's what they need, is they need constant praise and all this constant on them. And even that may not be enough. And if the slightest thing upset, they'll just go into a rage. That's your low spectrum narcissist. They're the ones that are the fully emotional vampire suckers. Like, they just will drain you emotionally. The higher spectrum narcissists, they'll just mess with your head so much you're just like it's just nuts. It's hard to explain. But what he's good at is the fact that he hides his arrogance really well. He's probably the only one in Silicon Valley that's in the tech industry that ever displays a level of being humble that's believable. So that's why he's hard to nail down, but he's just good at the acting job. So you can't help, but that's why people, I think, get pulled in by him. Because J.D. Vance wasn't the only one. There's been others, because he's good at what he does. I mean, that's why he wields a lot of influence, and he's wielded a ton of influence in the Republican Party, even before Trump. But he has his own agenda, and his agenda, just like Silicon Valley Tech's agenda, it seems to be, that they, first of all, hate biological women. I'm convinced of that. And I think a lot of it is wicked. Because he's gay, which, fine, he wants to be gay. He has some, partner he's married to or something. But, I mean, a ton of them there are. So when they have that technology power, and then they've been heavily involved because of their money in our politics, then, you should realize it's Silicon Valley that's controlling the country. I just hope somebody's watching them. That's what I hope. I pray that one day we find out that somebody has been watching them and pulls all their power. Because that's who's controlling speech. That's who's control. I mean, Karma Check, this place out of Silicon Valley, they shouldn't even be involved in background checks. We don't even know anything about the people. But he's hard not to like. But he's not somebody I would ever trust. So, if he really wanted a better image to be placed on technology, most especially, then he needs to show the fruits of that technology being not just, oh, look at what it did, it cured something and whatever. No, stop controlling people's speech. We know it's Silicon Valley. And stop trying to control the American people and know everything about us. You already know everything about us, and you are the big dogs with all the money, and you're trying to control the little people. So as long as it stays that way, Mr. Thiel, then don't expect Americans not to see tech as dystopian.